Today, join Roberta and Greg as they road trip their home state of Washington by touring the once largest concrete structure in the world, the massive Grand Coulee Dam, and the largest waterfall known to have existed on Earth, the impressive Dry Falls, and much more, coming up right now on
Isn't that beautiful? That's the Okanogan River. We're in Omak, Washington, which is kind of in central northern Washington state. And that's the Okanogan River down below us, and it's located in the Okanogan Valley. And as we look over Omak, nice little town. We like staying here. Like Eastern Washington, obviously not as doesn't have the big fir trees or anything like that. A little more sparse, but that's nice. Kind of the wide open areas, huh? That's beautiful. Right now it's probably around 64 degrees, but the sun's shining, and can feel that little bit of heat on us there.
Wow, that's a lot of rock they brought in.
our first destination, Grand Coulee Dam, is about 52 miles southeast of Omak. We traveled the scenic State Route 155 through the Colville Indian Reservation.
Well, out in the distance is the Grand Coulee Dam. That's our destination. See it out there? One of the largest dams in the world. I think it maybe held that distinction there for a while. A little windy where we're standing right now, so a little shaky. But yeah. Not sure what river that is right there. Pretty cool. That's where we're heading. It's Coulee Dam, the town just outside of Grand Coulee Dam. Built, for some of these residences when the dam was being built, assuming. We'll find out here shortly as we get to the visitor center of Grand Coulee Dam itself.
And there's the dam.
Grand Coulee Dam Visitor Center. Very exciting. The Grand Coulee Visitor Center here. It's pretty nice. I think it's a really nice visitor center. Of course, the dam is right outside the building. As President Franklin D. Roosevelt certainly was here at the dam. Apparently, this is what he used while he was here. August 4th, 1934.
All the trash that came down, like smaller towns of the dam. All the trash that came down.
Of course, all the construction workers that.
And all of them.
I'm not sure how many people that actually died
out there in those log rooms.
in construction of this. It wasn't that many, as I remember. I'm kind of thinking 8. I'll find that out. I'll let you know about that. So they must have had to check down below, huh? Structure of the dam under the water. Interesting. You know what is interesting about the Must be like the lead boots, huh? Keep you down. Total of 152 million hours went into building this dam. You see some of the paraphernalia, souvenirs from Grand Coulee Dam, cameras. Divider. Interesting. Happened during the 30s, so Franklin D. Roosevelt was president. Pretty cool. Yeah, here you can see where the dam itself and the power plants, when they completed the dam. So they had a left power plant and a right power plant. And then 30 years later, they put in the much larger third power plant, which is located over here. I think that's what we toured years and years ago. Nice, more than a mural, isn't it? The water. Hey, look at there. That's us in the winter. Pretty neat. Yeah, Bert's powering up. Well, she was powering up Eastern Washington. There we go. Yeah, that's how it works in this vicinity. And of course, what the dam created besides electricity was irrigation for the farmlands, which is very fertile around here. There's Lake Roosevelt for recreation, control floods. There's wildlife. And Woody Guthrie, the folk singer, many folk songs in the 30s and the 40s. There was a ballad of the Grand Coulee Dam. And there's also Roll On Columbia, Roll On, which I sing virtually every time we cross over the Columbia River. They would teach these songs, Washington in My Home, and then Roll On Columbia, Roll On, when we were in grade school, when I was in grade school. Long, long time ago. So that's what they have here, Roll On Columbia, Roll On.
Honey, what are you doing? Wow. Oh, that was beautiful.
Roll on, roll on. I learned that in elementary school way back in 1900. And yeah, it was. They taught us it's a Woody Guthrie song, as mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
And he's a folk, singer writer.
Okay.
Back in the '60s, as Arlo Guthrie. And yeah, he did these type of songs. And,
I like it. Thank you for the info.
Now, the mighty Grand Coulee Dam, which is the largest hydropower producer in the United States, irrigates more than 671,000 acres within the Columbia Basin Irrigation Project. It's approximately 1 mile long, 550 feet high, 500 feet thick, and weighs over 24 million tons. And on the average, 806,600 gallons of water per second pass through Grand Coulee Dam. Amazing. There's actually three power plants here at the dam. That's the right power plant, And obviously, we go to the other side. And, and it'll be the left power plant over here. Having a tough time seeing this with the sun directly on the viewfinder here. And then the third power plant, which was built 30 years later, which generates way more power. We toured that one time before. It's pretty fascinating. Again, that's the right power plant right there, the Grand Coulee Dam. And you know, it's the second largest cement dam in the world. It was the largest for quite a while until I guess there's a way more massive one that was built in China. But it is certainly the largest dam in the United States. There are taller ones, there's wider ones. But this is kind of the granddaddy of dams. And there's a lot of dams here in Washington State. There's the bank of the lights. They do a light show every night through the summer. I think it's through September, he said. So if you're ever here, and I highly recommend to come here. There are hotels in Grand Coulee here. Or you can stay close enough to where you can get them in a little bit larger city. But yes, light show is spectacular. And of course the dam itself is well worth it to see. Beautiful. I head down to the down below here where the beautiful grounds are. So yeah, it houses, you can have a lot of people here watch the light show at night. It's a nice park down below here. You can see the bridge that goes over the Columbia River. By the way, earlier I said I had a view of a long distance view of Columbia, or the Grand Coulee Dam, and I said I'm not sure what river that was. The Columbia River. It just at the angle that we were at, it looked a lot smaller, but then we went around the corner and seen both forward and aft, so to speak, and it was like, oh yeah, that's the Columbia. The mighty Columbia. Some of the seating area for the laser light show. Yeah, there she is. Well, now we're down in the picnic area, so we're a little closer to the dam, and don't have the overview as much, but this is nice. So again, that's the right power plant there. Up above in the day, you used to be able to drive across the dam, and that ended, of course, on 9/11, 2001. When our country was attacked by terrorists. But anyway, you used to be able to drive up here and still see some activity going there. You can drive across. I'm assuming you could walk across as well, but definitely drive across. We did that before. We've been here many times, and unfortunately, now the gentleman, the volunteer up there at the dam, said that Statue of Liberty's crown has been closed since 9/11, but it's reopened. So he has a feeling that someday we'll be able to drive across the dam once more. There is still tours in the power plant, the third power plant, I do believe. That's the second power plant here, or the left power plant, I should say. And then 30 years later came the third power plant, which can generate power for 4.2 million people. Amazing. The other thing, of course, that people are always kind of, look at dams and so forth. How many people died in construction of this dam? By the way, in 41 is when it started generating power for people. So they kind of say from 33 to 41, 77 people do believe it was all men died in construction of the dam. in all sorts of different ways. No, there is not anybody buried in cement. It fell into the cement and it just left them there. If somebody did, they pulled them out. And then in the building the third power plant, an additional 4 people died as well 30 years later. So safety was better back then, or 30 years later, but still 4 people died. So a total of 81 in construction of the dam died. And I said earlier, another mistake I made, that I thought there was minimal people, like 8. I think I'm thinking of Hoover Dam on that one. Probably wrong on that too. So 77 originally, from 33 to 41, and then another 4 in on the third power plant 30 plus years later. And there you go. And there's a little better view of the bank of lights that does the laser show. Done all through summer long through September. Cool. There's the bridge that goes over the Columbia River to Grand Coulee, the town. Guess it has a population a little over 1,000. And then the third power plant once again. Left power plant, the dam, right power plant, and a lot of loud noise there. And the picnic grounds, beautiful. You can come down here and have a picnic, enjoy the laser light show when it comes to be evening time. Nice area.
Oh, Bambi. Hi, baby. Good morning to you.
This is the other side of Grand Coulee Dam, at the top of the dam. And again, there was the road that you could drive across the dam at one time before 9/11. And the dam, Grand Coulee Dam, backs up the Columbia River, and this is Franklin D. Roosevelt Lake, and the Franklin D. Roosevelt Recreation area. And so a lot of course, this Roosevelt Lake continues on for a long ways. It's huge how far it backs it up. And a lot of houseboats and ski boats, all sorts of ski-doos, whatever you call them, for the water. Fun.
Grand Coulee Dam is considered one of the modern marvels of the world, as it's well worth going out of your way or making it a destination when road tripping Washington State. Combining it with a side trip to Dry Falls, which is located about 35 miles southwest of Grand Coulee Dam, makes this a must-see for engineering buffs, history buffs, and geological buffs. By the way, the drive along Banks Lake between the two sites is an extra bonus.
At Dry Falls in eastern Washington, just south of Grand Coulee Dam. We'll get some stats on it here in a second. Pretty impressive. The one thing I do remember is that water came over all of these, that edge over there, which is much bigger than Niagara Falls. Let's go find out a little bit more, shall we? This is Dry Falls in eastern Washington here, just south of Grand Coulee Dam. And this is the skeletal remains of what was the world's largest waterfall. So the at the end of the last ice age, the water receded, and that's why they are dry. But yeah, this was once a waterfall, and not only is it here what we're seeing on this scan, but it also goes 20 miles to the south. That's how big these waterfalls were. But all the other world's waterfalls to shame, Niagara Falls, Victoria Falls, this was the world's largest at one time. And it just leaves this spectacular view that we have today. Dry Falls. If you're going to Grand Coulee, this is usually kind of a Grand Coulee Dam. This is kind of a doubler here. Go to Dry Falls and you go to Grand Coulee Dam. And beware, it gets windy up here at Dry Falls, so hold on to your hats and little children and all your belongings, or you might end up down there. It's the second pink hat we've seen the last 6 months. The other one was in Yellowstone, and hopefully this person here didn't fall, and the one in Yellowstone didn't get scalded.
After Dry Falls, we headed north to Omak, Washington, where we started the day with a few more interesting, unexpected stops along the way back.
Yeah, there's Bridgeport, Washington, along the Columbia River. And the bridge that spans the Columbia. And see Chief Joseph Dam coming up here, which produces the second most amount of electricity of any dam in the United States. That's impressive, isn't it?
Very impressive.
Yeah. Who would have thunk? I'm not sure how many dams are on the Columbia River, but there's lots. Get hit over here in eastern Washington, it seems like they're about every 30, 40 miles. And just so you know, there's 27 turbines that produce that electricity.
Enough to light up Vegas.
Well, I don't know about that. But still not as vibrant as your personality. We're at Fort Okanogan Interpretive Center, and just above the Columbia River here. And it's a little arm of it there. Columbia River's out to the right here. But look at what we have down here. We have a beaver dam. Isn't that interesting? Who would have thunk? So somewhere in there, there's some beaver. Looks pretty cool. Maybe somebody just made it up. I don't know. No. Anyway, here's the Columbia River. It's actually pretty warm out right now when you're in the sun.
Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. And here's the Interpretive Center right here. Interesting shape. All right, let's check it out. This is the Fort Okanogan Interpretive Center. Got some nice displays here. And this overlooks some apple orchards, well, at least some orchards, and the Columbia River. Pretty nice, huh? And this is probably Fort Okanogan there. You'll see it in the background. It's probably a beaver hat. As far as the skin is concerned, that's usually what they are, even though it doesn't look like it. What are those? Cards are interesting looking, aren't they? Wonder if they made their own cards up. That one looks like it, huh? And then the Okanogan. Made moccasins and materials and such.
Women had little feet in those days.
Yeah, very interesting. Oh, wear that out on Saturday night, huh? Very interesting. Wow, look at that. Guess that's what you would use to get this right here. In fact, that's them right there with that.
And she said, the reason I'm doing that is because there won't be anyone left to feed for my boys.
Oh, this is a dugout canoe. It's the real McCoy. And it belonged to Long Jim, who was a chief in the Chelan tribe. He was in the late 1800s, maybe around 1879 or so. At any rate, they actually found this Long Jim's dugout canoe submerged in the waters of the Columbia River, just south of Brewster. Is that something? We're just up above the Columbia River here at the Fort Okanogan Interpretive Center. Yeah, very interesting about the Okanogan people. Nice displays in there. They have an old dugout canoe from the late 1800s, actually used by a Chelan chief. And got some native scrub brush here, and there's the Interpretive Center right there. Very nice. Some of the plant life here. It's probably adapts to the the very hot summers and maybe very cold winters too. Still makes it through it. Well, it's like a sumac or something. What do I know? These are nice. Again, some of the flora at the Fort Okanogan Interpretive Center. Again, this is up above the. See some orchards down below there. It's above the Columbia River. There's some really nice views. The Interpretive Center is really nice. That behind me there, plant life. What was that? Yeah, beautiful. A little upper view of the Interpretive Center here. You can have if you want to sit down and enjoy the view, you can. Yeah, I think we'll head back to Omak. Maybe go drive around the apple orchards there. And see what we can find for the rest of the day.
All told, Bert and I traveled 178 very scenic miles and spent 8.5 hours enjoying the day in each other's company. By the by, the Club Bar and Grill in the town of Okanogan has some pretty tasty hamburgers. Check it out.
Well, we're at a local pub, bar, grill, whatever, in In Okanogan. It looks like you get like a teriyaki type of burger there. Is it good? That's a big one.
It was good, yeah.
Yeah, very good. And I haven't tried mine, but like a mushroom burger here. So, well, oh, tasty, tasty. Good to know.
Next up on Out and About with G&B Unedited, Roberta and Greg will highlight two of Eastern Washington's most popular tourist destinations, Lake Chelan and Leavenworth. Make sure to like and subscribe so that you don't miss out on any of the fun. See you then.